Talk on Pigtown Sports YouTube channel and Fowl Talk YouTube channel. Tim, we have a lot to talk about. It has been a rough couple weeks here in Birdland. Let's not even mince words. Since we were last on air, we have went 4-8, and we really felt that this was going to be an absolute problem.
We sure did. 4-8. Uh, 1-2 against the Nationals. Should have been a 4-game series against Detroit, but there was a rain out, so they swept us. We won 2 against the Yankees, and today we just lost the second against Kansas City.
Yep.
I'm glad we don't have to play them anymore this year until, next year when they come to town and do the same thing to us with this wet noodle offense that seems to just destroy us. But
yeah, it's definitely going to destroy us. That's for sure. This team
is causing me to drink tequila.
Yeah, on a Sunday at 7:50, Tim is drinking tequila. We were both at the game today. Shout out to the Orioles for doing this for us and giving us the Gunnar Henderson Star Wars bobblehead. That was the only shining out there of today's game because it was absolutely horrendous, atrocious, pathetic, pitiful, whatever you want to call it. This team is in trouble. There's no way to slice this and dice this. They are in trouble.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. Wherever you want to start, Matt. There we can start wherever. It's you can blame the pitching, sure. You can blame management, of course. You can blame the front office. Why not? You can blame hitting. That's the big one for me. Don't let me lie. The big one for me is management / front office. But as far as the product that's on the field right now, working with what they got, I mean, it's the hitting. It's the fact that Jackson Holliday's father, Matt, had to see something in his swing back on I think it was 420, 421, something like that. Pick up the phone, call him, say, hey, your swing looks flat. He changes it, and, he's what was the stat line I just saw? He's 11 for 20 since that phone call. 11 for 29, 379 average, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts. And you're telling me that I know Matt Holliday is an ex-player. He knows the game better than anyone. He was also a hitter. He was known for hitting the ball. You're telling me that somebody not on this coaching staff, not on an iPad, not with the computers plugged in, not with all of these cameras that, recorded batting practice and run through these programs that show what the swing's doing and how to improve the swing and what needs to be changed and what's being done right. You're telling me a guy on the couch picked up the phone, called his son and said, hey, change this. And he's hitting the ball. The rest of our team is abysmal at the plate. The approach looks terrible with the exception of Cedric Mullins, Ryan O'Hearn, and Ramon Urias, who are the 3 oldest players on the team. Everybody's swing looks non-existent. The approach is terrible. And this factors into the management thing for me. How are there people getting paid millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars, whatever it is, to sit on that bench and see this approach happening? I'm just your average fan who watches 300, 400 baseball games a year across, all the teams, and I see it. How are these guys sitting on this bench, watching this and trotting this out there every day, and there's no change to the approach? It's the same approach we've seen since June of last year. We brought in an offensive strategist from the second worst team in baseball. We fired one hitting coach and promoted one of the hitting coaches that was part of this whole BS from the get-go. In every profession, every sport, every job, every school system, everything, it starts at the top.
I'm not even gonna go on an unhinged rant like I did last time, because it's different watching this team on television or listening to them on the radio, depending on how you digest this shit show of a season so far. It was pitiful at the ballpark today. The energy was off. There was 11 home runs in one game, and we lost.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we hit all 11, but I'm saying that ball was flying out of the ballpark. Kyle Gibson got absolutely shelled again.
And that's
Char-
something that I have to talk about. So we'll come back to that. Finish your rant.
Kyle Gibson gets absolutely shelled. Yenier Cano comes in and gets rocked. Then you bring in Charlie Morton when the game's still relatively close. And Morton gives up a nuke with 2 outs.
I literally stood up and left.
Yeah, I did too. I headed right for the light rail. There's no will in this team to fight. What are we doing out here right now? These coaches are not doing their job. These players are not doing their job. And meanwhile, Elias is sitting up in the warehouse saying, we're fine. We're going to let our guys I'm tired of these excuses. I'm tired of the coach speak. I'm tired of all this stuff. This stuff is driving me up the wall. Our players are underperforming right now. We have a serious problem in this clubhouse, in this dugout. And I'm not even going to say it's all Brandon Hyde's fault right now, because I would blame Hyde, but at some point, these players got to buck up and play for themselves if they're not going to play for each other.
Absolutely.
Like just for pride. You're 4-8 out of your last 12 since we were last on air. We talked about how we were going to get smoked in most of these series. We managed to win the Yankee series, and that was it.
What was it? The run differential was like 21 runs to 11 or 12, something stupid like that, because they had that blowout game. But both of the wins in the Yankee series were one-run games, and I'll never, not be happy about winning games against the Yankees. But at the same time, there's not much to be proud about there.
There's not.
No, and when you were talking about these guys needing to knuckle up, and go out there and win this game for their team, it's the approach at the plate is what I keep falling back to. I talk about this. My wife is big on this. She's been big on this forever. And if you guys know her in the chat, whatever, you've heard her talk about this, but it's more evident now. These guys are like swinging for the fences. Now I get it. A home run's great. A home run is even better when there's runners on. But the problem is every home run today was a solo home run. Every swing that's being taken behind that plate is either, I don't know what I'm looking at, and I'm just closing my eyes and swinging and hoping that I hit the ball.
Their approach is terrible.
Yeah, I'm swinging for home runs. And what you literally cannot rely on home runs in this game. I would love to see some form of small ball. Can you imagine if there was a little bit of small ball before any one of those 4 or 5 home runs that we hit today? We'd be having a different conversation right now.
We would. It might have been 13-11.
What happens when you rely on home runs, Matt, and we make it into the postseason and we're still relying on home runs?
Smoked.
You get
swept. You get swept. This is an organizational issue. All of us. Now this is going to be a rant. I think I feel it, and it's going to be not laden with the explicit words.
Absolutely trippy, by the way.
Yeah. I'm going to say this. We sat through the early part of the 2010s where we were a good baseball team under Buck Showalter, a fantastic team at some points. We had life, we had hope. Then you go into a complete sale, rebuild. We sit through another 5 tumultuous years, including the pandemic years, and we get all these fantastic ball players. And what has this organization done to help them win? How have they done anything to help us win? They have all of your chickens have come home to roost. All the prospects are here, Kobe Mayo included. Everybody's here.
What'd you think of his swings today?
He's still got that hitch.
It's bizarre.
It's a very bizarre thing. He's got the hitch and he's got the stride. He doesn't have like a step. So
it's like a twitch almost.
Yeah, but the thing is that's not going to work at this level. You can't do that to 98 mile an hour. You can do that to 89, 92 in AAA, but This is an organizational issue. You sucked all those years to get all these studs, and now they're here, and you give them Charlie Morton. You give them Kyle Gibson. You give them nobody. Zach Eflin is hurt. Sagano's barely holding on. He's the best pitcher on our staff right now, and he's pitched in 7 major league games.
And we talk about analytics and how this team follows it's from the top to the bottom. It's since the beginning of the rebuild. It's been analytics, and we already talked about the fact we're doing or dying on home runs, which doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't work, But what really bothers me is that if you take the terrible approach aside, the hitting aside, and these players not hitting the ball right now, and you go old school, forget the analytics, manage the game on feeling. I wanted to ask you, I've been waiting to get on with you tonight because I wanted to ask you, you were at the game like I was. We were going back to back, right, with the Royals. Home run, home run, home run, home run. We tied, I don't know, the game got tied up 4 or 5 times on back-to-back innings. Like they went up, we went up. They went up, we tied it. We went up, they tied it. Back to back to back. The energy felt good. We're down. They came out and they scored those 2 runs in the 1 inning, right? So we're down by 2 because Cano came in, let up those 2 runs. We're down by 2. Charlie Morton trots out.
I saw I saw his face pop up on the screen, and I looked around to the people. I went to the game with a bunch of coworkers, and I looked at him and I said, "This is about to be a home run derby." And then when we got 2 outs, and I was like, "Oh, he's getting ground ball outs," and then
yep.
The dude launched it.
And then
something or other.
But what gets me about that is like the feeling, like, right. You're a manager. This is what you do. I get it. You follow analytics, but you also have to use some kind of like what you see and in game, like what's going on in the game. And even though we were down by 2 runs in that inning, the way the game had gone, it felt like we were still in it. It felt like, okay, they just put up 2. We're going to go out there and battle right back.
Right.
But then you sent Charlie Morton out there. And I swear to God, you could feel the air gets sucked out of that stadium.
Half of my section walked when he came into the game.
Right. And it's to me, it baffles me. You're sitting in the dugout. You're telling me that through your brain, you were like, all right, we're in this game. We're in this game. Send Uncle Charlie out.
I understand that. Like the thing is,
Gregory Soto.
You have Soto. You have Dominguez. You have anybody in that bullpen. The pitchers today. You started with Gibson, Cano, Keegan Aiken, and Charlie Morton. That's egregious. This is like one of the, like somebody said on the comments. It's a fireable offense. This has to be studied. This needs an ESPN 30 for 30 in a couple years to look at the rebuild Orioles, have prime Adley Rutschman, prime Jordan Westberg, prime Gunnar Henderson, prime Jackson Holiday, Colton Cowser, Kobe Mayo. All these guys were drafted in the first 4 rounds of 4 consecutive drafts, and they're on pace to lose another 10 games from their previous year, if not 15. So we went from 100 losses to 83 wins to 101 to 91, and now we're on pace to barely have 70. This is how is this organization okay with this?
Yep. And
how is anybody okay with this?
That's the problem, is that we're not. And then we're getting post-game interviews from, Hyde. Orioles Brandon Hyde was asked about Charlie Morton, the big question, the thing that sucked all the air out of the stadium today. His response, he's going to continue to get opportunities. What did he say? He's going to continue to get opportunities. We're going to try and find ways to get him involved, whatever. I get it. You got to be behind your guys as a manager, but that's not it. You know how easy it is you could have just said, with Charlie, we'll see where we are in certain games. And if we find the right spot for him, we'll see where the games take us, that sort of thing. It's easy to say something like that. And then you're fine. You still have your players back, whatever. But to literally blatantly be like, no, Charlie's going to continue to get opportunities. Like, I feel like I'm banging my head against a brick wall. And you think Remember before the season started, everyone wanted to talk about extensions, extend these players, extend these players. I was one of them. I want to see the extensions. I want to see you sign these kids, not kids, adults, but you know what I mean. The young players on the team. Same thing. I get it. I want to see them extended. You think in their right mind
No.
that they want to sign an extension to play?
This is
Matt
going
Holliday,
to be one of the most epic rebuild fails in the history of Major League Baseball. Because
Matt Holliday wants nothing more than to see Jackson get the hell out of Baltimore. Kobe Mayo, like
and
I
Jack
heard,
was here until like 32.
right? And I heard from a reputable source that Mayo's parents are the same way. They cannot wait until he's out of here at Baltimore.
Right. And now the mass exodus is going to start, and it's going to start with Adley Rutschman. I can tell you this right now. Adley Rutschman is going to be on the West Coast playing baseball in a couple of years.
Back home
On the West Coast, warm weather, better on his knees, all that. Adley's going to be the first one to go. Grayson, if Grayson doesn't pitch another start for the Baltimore Orioles, I would not be shocked.
And just to preface the little rant I just went on, because Laura brought it up in the chat, is like, I know I've done a reading. I know that it's Scott Boras, and people want to say that it's not Boras. Look, Boras, you can go back and look over the last 5 years of how many players he's let sign pre-arbitration, and it's like there's one. And if you go back and look at like the last 10 years, he does not let his players sign. I know that. But when push comes to shove, and say for whatever reason, who knows if this could happen, say the Orioles made an offer that was just, you can't beat it. It's so much money, lock him in. He's already used to the clubhouse at the time. Why would they want to? Why? They don't even, the best way I describe it, and I've said it to you, Matt, with this lineup changing the way it is every day, and Holiday playing 65% of the time, would you sign a contract at work to continue working for your job if you showed up to work every day and you didn't know, A, if you were going to work, and B, what your job was going to be?
I do that now. So I get
you're also a lunatic, but
yeah.
You get what I'm saying, though. Like,
yeah.
How do you think
100%.
Jackson Holiday, or even his father, thinks sitting in the stands and watching us trot Jorge Mateo out there over him?
It's pitiful. It's pitiful. Our first overall draft pick of the 2023 draft is platooning with a guy that has less than 5 hits all year.
Yeah, and Steph just said it in the chat. Our one of one guy sitting for Mateo twice a week.
I'm almost terrified of what the next 5 years of Oriole baseball is going to be like, because there's a chance that 85% of the guys that we're talking about are gone. And there's nobody to blame but Mike Elias, but David Rubenstein, because they're running this team like a business and not like a goddamn baseball team.
It makes me wonder if Rubenstein even knows, what he got into inheriting Mike Elias.
You have arguably the greatest shortstop to ever play baseball on your board of owners that played in this city for 2 decades. That is a hero. His number's retired. It's on the plaza in a big sculpture. He's got a statue. This man knows Baltimore baseball better than anybody on the planet. And you are not letting this man make any baseball decisions.
Mm-hmm.
It's egregious. It is absolutely egregious.
And I was talking about it like with my buddy Brett at the game today, and he was saying, something that I've thought of is like, to be a GM, you obviously have to be a kind of, an egotistical dickhead to get to that spot. I get it. Like, some will say, no, you don't have to be that way. To get to that spot, you kind of have to think your shit doesn't stink. And it's almost like Elias is so prideful, Matt, that he wants to prove to the whole world that his version of, you don't have to go out there and spend money, that you can develop from within, it will work. And he's going to ride that into the dirt.
And I'm looking at people saying, somebody just said, Drew, my brother just said Cal Riley dropped Boras and signed a deal. But the Mariners are taking care of their young stars. They re-signed Julio Rodriguez 10 years before he was going to be a free agent.
Correct.
They bought out every single one of his arbitration years. He might not live up to that contract, but they showed faith in a 19-year-old kid and gave him a ton of money. Cal Riley just got a ton of money. They bought out his arbitration.
I'm not
Nobody on this team right now is going to buy out their arbitration as long as Brandon Hyde and Mike Elias are running this team.
right. And I see some comments over here. I just want to clarify. Like, I am not in the least blaming Rubenstein. And like he inherited Mike Elias. That was part of his purchase. Mike came with that purchase, and he wasn't an insider baseball guy. He was a fan. And that's something like these millionaires that buy teams, you don't always get that when they're essentially a fan. A lot of these guys look at it as like a money venture or, the top of the totem pole. I've made it so far in life that I own a professional sports team. Rubenstein also was a fan. So, who knows who he had on his team to do the vetting process. I think time will tell that if, Mike Elias continues to do this thing over the next 2 years, 3 years, and squanders this away even more so than what we're seeing in present day right now, then yes, you could bring Rubenstein into the picture and say, he needs to grow a pair, so to speak.
I was forecasting 5 years though for Rubenstein
to be able to make big time decisions like that.
Yes.
Yeah. I know this is his second year, but like he doesn't even have the people around him. He kind of has to just go off of what Mike is saying. He hasn't developed his team where he has backdoor meetings that don't involve Mike,
Right.
So
Correct.
I don't want to get it misconstrued. Like he inherited Mike and he's still under that "this is what I inherited" umbrella for the time being.
If you don't, it's a double-edged sword though. If you don't have Mike Elias, we probably don't have half of these guys on this baseball team.
Yeah, and
Mike Elias is good at building
correct
a minor league system.
Correct.
But now that minor league system that he built for years is now at the major league level, and they are in 5th place in the AL East right now.
He's a scout.
He is a scout that was given a GM job based on the success of a Houston Astros team that essentially cheated their way to a World Series and won it. I'm not even going to get mad at them for doing it because everybody does it. They just did it better. They got caught. There's a ton of cheating in baseball. Most of it that we don't know about.
Yep. But and Kim's bringing up the point that we talked about earlier too. It's like, it's Mike Elias literally sat there, watched the Mariners be the bottom 3 worst team in baseball offensively. And then they fired their hitting coach and he was like, yeah, I'll bring that guy in. From a team that couldn't hit the ball from June on last year.
Yeah.
I don't know, Matt. I'm running hot. It's getting to the point where, like, everything that we're talking about, we've talked about for the last couple weeks. We predicted, so to speak. We've had these opinions, but now it's like in our face, and it's not just in our face. Now it's being rubbed into our face.
Yeah, and it's almost like they're daring us to stop supporting them, because as you can see from today, we both were at the game along with your wife. We didn't, run into each other today, but 30,000 people showed up to the ballpark for a Gunnar Henderson bobblehead, more so than the actual team.
Mm-hmm.
On Sunday games at 1:30, that stadium should be packed.
And what's funny is 30,000 people were the scan tickets, but there weren't 30,000 people in the seats.
Right. But what I'm saying is,
it should be packed.
It should be like, and the thing is, we should be winning ball games left and right.
Mm-hmm.
We could extend Adley at this point, but would Adley sign?
I mean,
Adley might sign based on the fact that he's not going to get. I mean, he could get a huge payday, pretty much on 15 other ball clubs.
We don't need to sign him though. We got Maverick Handley starting.
Oh, and speaking of Maverick Handley, Kobe Mayo almost killed him today.
Yeah, with that pop up.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to, and Kobe Mayo is also like 2 feet taller than him too.
Rubenstein is a fan, just like most of us, and until the last 12 months, he's been duped by Elias. That is one of the most accurate statements O's fan for life on Twitter. Absolutely 100% agree with that assessment that Elias duped him.
Yep. And that's what I was trying to say is like Rubenstein acquired Mike Elias. And who knows what was involved, who Rubenstein hired to, do his reviews of the organization before he purchased them. But Mike came with it. Like Mike would have been looked at by whatever guys he has too.
Most of the time when an owner sells to another owner and they take over, they eventually get their people in there. Well, this is year 2 of Elias and Rubenstein. Essentially, by the end of the season, it's gonna be the second year. I'm giving them one off season to rectify this shit show, or it's the absolute biggest fumble of talented baseball players in the history of the sport. And I'm not even being sarcastic or overly emphatic on it. It's true. You have 2 1-of-1 players on your team right now. You have Adley, you have Jackson Holiday. There isn't a position player other than Ryan O'Hearn and Cedric Mullins that wasn't drafted before the 5th round in the last 6 drafts on this team. Colton Cowser's hurt right now. But Cowser, Mayo, Gunnar, Jackson, Adley, Mountcastle, they were all high draft picks because the team sucked. We sat through years of bullshit for these guys, and now they're here, and you got this no good piece of shit manager managing the ball club. That's where we are. Brandon Hyde is not cut out for this job. Brandon Hyde is not cut out for this. Mike Elias isn't even cut out for this, because when you have a billionaire that says, I'm old, spend my money, and you go and get Kyle Gibson, you go and get Charlie Morton, you go and get Sugano, who has been a godsend. It's absolutely insane to me. Absolutely insane to think that.
Yep. No, I mean, I don't know, Matt. I wanted to hop on here tonight and just let it rip because it's the pot full of boiling water is boiling over. And I feel like I'm going crazy because everybody on my feed, everybody on Twitter, everybody on social media, we all have the same opinion. We're all seeing the same shit.
Kim's right. They duped everybody. They duped it because they sold us a dream. We were stuck in such a rut for such a long time. They sold us an absolute dream. Never in my life did I think that we were going to be sitting in this position.
Yep. And don't forget, we took Adley instead of Bobby Witt.
But if we draft Bobby Witt, then we draft Gunnar Henderson. And I'll say this, Bobby Witt's the better ball player.
Can you imagine if it was a Gunnar Henderson third, Bobby Witt short?
Yeah. They'd both be out of here in a couple years.
I was set you up for it. I was going to say, yeah, so we could watch both of them and not have any of them here long term. Be great, wouldn't it?
That right there is accurate.
Yeah. And has Bobby Witt signed a contract, Matt? Yeah, the Royals extended him.
Yes, they did.
Oh, man. I get it. It's not, I know it's not Scott Boras, but at the same time, everything's painful right now. We're trotting out Gibson Morton down by 2 in the 7th inning. Like I don't know. I felt bad for my guy Brian Baker today. I wanted to get that off my chest.
He doesn't evade smoke.
He does evade smoke. He's still got a sub-3 ERA.
No, it doesn't matter. It's gonna balloon to a 6 by All-Star break.
No.
This dude sucks after the first 2 months of the season. I don't want to hear it. Brian Baker shouldn't be on this team.
No, take that back.
You're talking about, he changed his glove, or he was just getting shelled.
Yeah, for the first time ever. He's still one of the only pitchers on this entire staff with a sub-3 ERA. And the part that really I love about Brian Baker is that when he let the nuke go, he turned around and he dropped to the ground with his hands on the head. He cares. I'm tired of seeing these pitchers give up nukes and turn around and look at the catcher and call for the next ball. Like, oh well. Like, it hurt Brian Baker. And I like to see that.
Joe, it doesn't matter if our 2024-2025 draft was good. They're not going to be here, especially in the positions that are currently occupied. They're not going to be here for 4 years. Who cares? I don't care that Bowie and Aberdeen are winning championships. I don't care. I don't care that Norfolk is going to the playoffs or whatever. I don't care because I don't watch those teams. I follow along for the purposes of this show, but I'm not driving to any of those places to watch them play.
Nope. We got a hard stop coming up, Matt. So before we reach that.
Yeah, we got 3 minutes. I know
I wanted to.
Paul and Zach are going to be on this channel after us.
Yeah, I wanted to run through the next couple series with you, just because this is when I looked at the schedule. I always do my schedule analysis before the season starts, and this month, May, I had highlighted in green. And this was supposed to be, the easy month. So, kind of hurt to start the series this way with Kansas City, but so we got 3-game series. Minnesota. All right. Pitchers are Povich, Kramer, Sagano.
1 and 2.
All right. Then we got 3-game series. Angels. And by the way, it's at the Twins, at LA.
1 and 2.
Okay.
So 2 and 4.
Then we're back home and play the Twins again. We run it right back.
3 and 6.
Okay. And then I hate this series because these guys have been balling. At home, Nationals.
Sweep. Not for us. This team can't finish games.
And then right after that, we have Milwaukee.
We might win 4 games in the next 2 weeks. This is going to be a long, rocky road. This is going to be bad.
And then after that, I mean, look, we'll be live before then, but then just to look ahead, it's Boston, St. Louis, White Sox, Seattle, Sacramento, or should I say Oakland, Detroit again. Like, it ain't getting easier.
We're not. It's not getting easier at all. It's so bad. Like I don't even know. Like I don't even know the next time I know we're gonna be on the air again in the next week and a half or 2 weeks or whatever. But
the wife says 4 and 12.
Yeah, 4 and 12. It might be. But guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for letting us air out our grievances on this short 45 or 30-minute show, 33-minute show. Paul and Zach are going to be on the channel next. So we'll kick it over to them in a few minutes. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. You can find Tim at Foul Ball Talk on X. I'm Mtrig WBP on X. Shameless plug before I go with everybody. If you're a Ravens fan, check out me and Daniel Wilcox over at We Bleed Purple podcast on YouTube. We just released our debut episode. We'll be over there weekly for all your Ravens news.
Lots of Steelers news over on that channel.
No. Drink another one. No. The comments are coming in fierce. I'm trying to get them all on the thing before we go. That'll do it, folks. Thank you so much for everybody that interacted with us, and we'll see you guys in a couple weeks when the Orioles lose another 70% of their games.
Nah, we might need to run it back next weekend.